How y'all doing? My name is Robert Chimps, and welcome to the political and economic state of the world, where we talk about the political and economic state of the world. Now today, the topic is ICE, specifically what's going on in Minnesota. And really, before I talk about Minnesota, I want to bring up the broader scale, because most people just really try to focus in on Minnesota as if that's the only state that's affected. But really, it's the entire country. This is a global problem, a global issue that people aren't, they're talking about it, but a lot of people don't understand it. So I'm gonna try to help y'all to my best ability understand what's going on. Now, when it comes to ICE, before 2024, people didn't even hear, like, the term ICE wasn't even widely used. Most people know them as Border Patrol because that's where they operated. Historically, they operated on the exterior, on the border of the United States. And now we see aggressive interior arrests, just insanity. Because I live in Texas on an island on the Gulf of Mexico. And obviously there's immigrants there. I saw Border Patrol, I saw ICE, I saw that on a daily basis. But when you go to a place like Minneapolis, where there's not even a high rate of immigrants, it's only 1.5% of the population of Minneapolis are immigrants. That's lower than the national average. It doesn't even make sense for them to be there. So you have to ask why they're doing that. And to my understanding, it's more than law, it's more than enforcement, it's political. Donald Trump, what he's doing is it's insanity, in my opinion. He saw that the governor of Minneapolis, the government of St. Paul, or the mayor, they were pushing against ICE. They were pushing back ICE. They weren't enforcing what he tried to force on them. So what he did was he sent thousands of officers into Minneapolis, thousands of officers into St. Paul, thousands of officers into Minnesota, and aggressively, essentially took over the state. Now, outside of Minnesota, you see in Texas, multi-city operations, Dallas-Fort Worth area, California, San Diego. Arrests are 1,400% in San Diego. Absolutely insane. Where before you would only see 300 arrests per year, now you're seeing 4,000, almost 5,000. Arizona, they're raiding the workplaces. New York, Chinatown, Canal Street, you see arrests on a daily basis. It's staggering. You're seeing walkouts from schools. You're seeing protests on a daily basis everywhere, all across the country. Yet, there are still people who are in support of this. Now, 2025, 32 people were killed by ICE, and we're only in February. 8 people have already died to ICE. Now, all you hear about is Alex Preddy and Renee Nicole Good, but there were 6 other people who died before them. Gerardo Lunos Campos, Luis Gustavo Caceres, Luis Yanez Cruz, Parity Law, and Victor Manuel Diaz. You've probably never heard of any of them. Listen to their names. Listen to it. They have ethnic names. Now, when you look at Alex Preddy, Renee Nicole Good, you see the difference. That, to me, is astounding that all of a sudden now Alex Preddy's dead. Renee Nicole Good is dead. Now all of a sudden when I wake up, this could have been started years ago, and now all of a sudden there's outrage. Now, what these ICE agents are doing is reminding me of Gestapo, literally. They're allowed to racial profile. They're allowed to basically have no oversight in their activities. They can go and beat you, mace you, kill you, and the vice president gets on the news and says, you have immunity. So until something is done, until these protests turn into action, until these walkouts turn into action, get written into law, until we start making demands, I don't think we're going to see any change in the near future. Now, what really started this off was a policy shift. When the government closed, we were all talking about, oh, where's the health care? We're not having health care. We don't have this. We don't have money for that. All of a sudden, when the government opened back up, all of a sudden, we have $858 million to give the ICE agents in bonuses. Every ICE agent gets a $50,000 bonus. They're making $200,000 a year with no college experience, no, you don't even need work experience. You sign up, you can be an ICE agent. It's very easy. And with that, they have extra funding on detainees before, you could only have 40,000 detainees at a time. That was the norm in the earlier decades. Now, there's funding for over 100,000 detainees at a time. It's staggering. Now, this literally enforces this type of behavior. This enforces them. Now there's funding, like 100,000 detainees versus 40,000. There's almost an incentive for them to go out and do the things they're doing. There's an incentive for them to go out and be more aggressive towards people who are just trying to come to this country and make a better life. And them coming to this country and trying to make a better life is not a crime. Yet we have our president going on the news and calling these people animals, saying they're inhuman, which again gives more of an incentive for these agents to go out and do heinous things to them. It gives them more of an incentive for Trump supporters and supporters of ICE in their activities to go online and say heinous things about these people, because according to President Donald Trump, they're not even human. What's the harm in hurting someone that's not human? That's like stepping on a bug. You don't feel anything. Same way they don't feel anything after someone gets shot to death in broad daylight in front of people, and nothing comes of it. It's insanity. Now, another thing that changed was a shift in the way they arrested people. Before, they weren't being arrested on the interior, like I said before. It was more, you got caught at the border, and for that, you don't have your papers. You get deported. It's cut and dry. Those people, they weren't prepared. Now, if you're on the interior of the country, you've been living in America for years, decades. People have made a whole entire life. They're in their 60s, in their 50s, 40s, and they've lived in America. ICE now has the authorization to go in your workplace, go in a hospital, go in your school. They're sitting in the Home Depot parking lot arresting people without prior convictions. People who are just innocent humans trying to make a better way for themselves. And they're just allowed to just be arrested and taken from their kids, taken from their family, be put in cages like the animals that Trump said they are. They're not being transferred from jail. They're not just felons. They're human beings. And that's what I really want people to understand. Now, when Trump goes on the news, when he speaks about these people, he speaks about them in the most vile ways possible. He has never said, oh, these are just people trying to make a better life, but they're here legally. No, he says these are animals, these are creatures, these are people who are felons, violent offenders. Yet 70 to 75% of these people have no prior convictions. Only about 5% of them are felons. And most of them don't have any convictions at all. This directly contradicts Trump's verbiage when he's speaking about these people. It directly contradicts that, and it only takes a bit of research for anyone to understand that. Now, what sparked Trump going to Minnesota, I have to zone in on that, is a thing called Operation Metro Surge, which launched in December 2025, where 3,000 federal agents were deployed in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and the surrounding areas. Now, what changed is that from a place where there were little to no, not little to no, but there were a small amount of immigrants, now all of a sudden 3,000 to 3,500.
We gonna edit that. I was saying you got 1 minute.
Oh, well, now, you already threw me off.
I'm
not gonna lie.
sorry.
Now people are being arrested at an astounding rate. 3,000 to 3,500 arrests a day. Insane,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
People are being arrested for no reason.
They're being arrested for no
3,000
reason.
people.
Now people are living in fear to even go outside. People are living in fear to even go to school. They don't know what happened. You can go to school one day, next day you're in the back of an ICE agent's car on the way to jail being detained. And with that being said, I really just want people to understand that this is not just a one state issue. This is not just a one city issue. This is not even just a immigrant only issue. If there are people with a badge having the authority to kill you and have immunity, having the authority to beat you and have immunity, having the authority to pepper spray you and have immunity, what makes you think you won't be next? thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And hopefully I help you get a better understanding of what's going on in this country.